And we will open this meeting with the land acknowledgement. The land that Eureka rests on is known in the Wiyot language as Jirujiji. Past actions by local, state, and federal governments remove the Wiyot and other indigenous peoples from the land and threaten to destroy their cultural practices. The city of Eureka acknowledged the Wiyot community, their elders both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement demonstrates the city's commitment to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. And could we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Burgell?
Here.
Councilmember Castellano?
Here.
Councilmember Moulton?
Here.
Councilmember Fernandez?
Here.
Councilmember Bauer?
Here.
Councilmember Contreras Deloche?
Here.
And would all who care to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Is there a report out of closed session, Attorney Black?
Mayor, there was an item added to the closed session agenda, which was a conference with legal counsel to discuss an item of existing litigation. And that litigation is the matter of Kelly Piferini versus City of Eureka et al. That's a U.S. District Court case number 124 CV 09191 RMI. And that motion to add that item due to the necessity of a discussion and the fact that it arose after the posting of the agenda was passed 5-0. Thereafter, the pre-existing item on the closed session agenda plus that item were discussed, but no actions, no reportable actions or final actions were taken in closed session.
Thank you. Excuse me. And this leads us to presentations. So we're going to be having a presentation from Project Coordinator Green about the 2025 Welcome Center update and holiday recap. Welcome.
Alrighty. Thank you. My name is Madison Green. I administer economic development projects in the city as well as oversee the Welcome Center. This is the first time we've provided an annual overview, and we plan to continue delivering these annual overviews for the future years. Our goal is to make it as useful and relevant as possible for you, so any feedback that you would like to share at the end is greatly appreciated. This overview is designed for you, and your input will help us refine this. The Welcome Center is located in the heart of Old Town. It is open 7 days a week. Open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have 7 concierges. These 7 concierges are employed. They're classified as part-time temporary employees. They are trained on Eureka. Most recently, we had a training for the Eureka Cultural Arts District last week. We concluded that training with a walking tour, and we were able to see some awesome art galleries right here in Eureka. These experiences really help our concierges curate the most authentic tours for the visitors that come into the Welcome Centers. When they experience these tours, they're able to leave Eureka with some authentic experiences. We offer a reliable public restroom for the events that you see here in the hub of Old Town, which is really great because if you guys are aware, a lot of our historic buildings don't have public restrooms that are available for our customers to use. The concierges tracked over 24,200 visitors in 2025, which was a 26% increase from 2024. Amongst our high visibility with Visit Eureka, we do attribute our increased visitation numbers to being an official California Welcome Center. Using Placer AI data software, we pulled the Old Town footprint, which indicated 1.2 million visitors in 2025. This does not include our employees or our residents of the Old Town area. This year marked an exciting milestone for us. It was our first year anniversary as an official California Welcome Center in July. Building on that momentum, we had our Visit California industry partners come and host a dynamic industry night, connecting with local tourism partners, sharing valuable resources, and showcasing all of the dynamic tourism resources that we had at the Welcome Center at the City of Eureka have to offer to help drive and visitation and strengthen our tourism economy. This year, we're placing a strong focus on tourism, developing tourism through a new call for content designed to create authentic, locally led visitor experiences. We plan to partner with community members who are passionate about Eureka to lead guided tours that highlight our history, architecture, public art, murals, culture, and even specialty experiences such as ghost tours. These curated experiences are an important step in transforming visitation into meaningful engagement and longer stays. We're also excited to continue and expand our partnership with Visit California, including recent opportunities to host influencers who help amplify Eureka's story to a broader audience. These efforts directly support increased visibility and position Eureka as a must-visit destination. Many of us are eager to take a more active role in regional tourism, and we recognize Eureka's unique responsibility in that effort. As a major gateway along Broadway and Highway 101, Eureka is a central driver in tourism within Humboldt County. We're excited to lean into this role to collaborate closely with regional partners and keep council informed and involved as we strengthen our tourism's economic impact in our community. So we're going to move on to the holiday recap. It seems so far, yet it was so close. I promise. It was only just a few weeks ago that we wrapped up getting our garland put all away. And it's all nicely tucked away in the basement of the Welcome Center. So born out of a collaboration, this effort began when Sue, a local small business owner, raised concerns about the declining sales. In response, multiple partners came together with Humboldt Made, leading the charge through the Choose Humboldt initiative, which focused on encouraging residents and visitors to shop locally. The first phase launched at Eureka Main Street's Holiday Open House and was followed by a full season of coordinating holiday programming designed to drive engagement and support downtown businesses. To further encourage exploration and support throughout the region, the interactive Vibe Map was also launched. Simultaneously, the 5 mayors launched the Eureka for the Holidays marketing campaign, featuring festive mascots and a centralized holiday calendar to increase participation citywide. Eureka Main Street brought Old Town to life with signature events including the Snowball Drop, Santa's Arrival, Small Business Saturday, and December Arts Alive. All of the holiday decorations that made this season festive were installed by the City of Eureka's Economic Development Team, Humboldt Bay Fire, Development Services, Public Works, and a handful of dedicated volunteers. An effort that truly showcased the community spirit behind these celebrations. One new, especially well-received, was a partnership between Humboldt Transit Authority and the Welcome Center. Together, they offered guided tours of homes registered for Home for the Holidays competition. The tours ran a rotating schedule 3 times each night for 2 nights and were offered free to the community. And due to the well-received public response, we're excited to see this happen in future years. So this slide is going to show you a footprint of Old Town and some Placer AI data. Placer AI, the footprint of Old Town is up here, as you can see displayed in this purple image. The foot traffic and Placer AI data show steady year-over-year growth in visitor numbers, indicating sustained momentum rather than one-time spikes. While visitation dipped in 2024 due to economic uncertainty, it has rebounded in 2025. This growth is especially consistent during holidays and major Old Town events when visitor activity peaks. We attribute this increase to our promotional efforts, which are driving awareness, boosting visitation, and encouraging longer stays. Overall, the data points to a strong and growing economic outlook for the city, supported by strategic investment in tourism marketing through Visit Eureka and Visit California. So this is our social media page, some quick snapshots and statistics on our Facebook side and then our Instagram side. Visit Eureka concluded 2025 with a strong digital momentum. The massive spike in Facebook follows positive 788% and profile visits positive 292%, demonstrates that holiday content strategy successfully converted casual viewers into engaged followers. By focusing on district-grounded experience rather than generic travel promotion, Visit Eureka has strengthened its digital footprint, setting a robust foundation for tourism outreach in 2026. In addition to presenting about the Welcome Center annually, we hope to have Emily Kirsch, our consultant who runs Visit Eureka, present to you on these data points as well, to help keep you informed on what these numbers are showing us on our overall reach and goals. And then the community impact. So up here we have a few comments that people brought to us specifically. They reached out on their own to share this information with us. Carl Johnson team brought us a wonderful gift basket. It was very sweet of them. And then we have Bell Star that left us a message. And then a community member brought us a note about the HTA tour nights that we did for the Home for the Holidays viewing. And then I have a lengthier quote that I wanted to share and read for you guys from Sarah Land from Land of Lovely. Holiday shopping this year in Old Town Eureka was magical. The hustle and bustle of shoppers and them commenting on how nostalgic and beautiful Old Town Eureka and the gazebo was, so tastefully decorated this year. It was wonderful to see local social media outlets talking about all the fun events that were happening in Old Town during the holidays and hearing about them on the radio. We had more people turn out for many Eureka Main Street holiday events and shopping this year versus any prior years. And I do think it was due to the advertising more and the advertising on the correct platforms. I think it's so important to keep all of these events on radio, TV, and social media during that time of year. I appreciate the efforts of Eureka Main Street and hope we can continue to gain more local shoppers this next holiday season. And again, that was from Sarah Land from Land of Lovely. So this is why we do this work for our community. The feedback we received from local businesses and community members speaks for itself. Their words reflect appreciation for the efforts made for this holiday season and confirm that these initiatives truly made a difference. We're energized by this response and we're already looking ahead. We actually have a meeting tomorrow with one of the former mayors to continue this planning for next year. So thank you. And do you have any questions?
Questions? Councilmember Castellano?
Thank you for the report and for all of your work there at the Visitor Center and beyond. Just a couple quick questions. When you say 1.2 million visitors, is that the sum total over the past 4 years? Is that
For 2025.
okay? But then it said in just the Old Town area was where you had the 294,000. So the 1.2 million is
That was for the Old Town footprint for 2025. And then the 200 and that was for the October through December for the holiday season.
Okay.
Mhm.
Perfect. Thank you. And then I was just curious about the feeder markets. In terms of, when we look at the visitors, are there areas where people are coming from more often, and or like kind of seasonal visitors, like, we get more people from Reading in the summer, for instance, or things like that?
Yeah, so I can pull all of that information from Placer AI, and it fluctuates, like you said, summer to December. So we can get that information. So if you wanted to relay more specific, I can get those details for you.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Councilmember Fernandez?
Thank you for the presentation. Yeah, in the same vein, you touched on the number of visitors that we had just throughout 2025, and so could you? And I know we've talked about it before, but could you help me again understand how Placer distinguishes the difference between residents and workers versus visitors?
Yeah, so Placer goes off of cell phone aggregate data, so it's able to determine who lives where. So it can tell, based on your pattern, you're a creature of habit, who lives in Old Town, who lives in, like for me, for example, it can tell you that I'm an employee of Old Town and I'm a resident of Fortuna. So it's going to be able to sift me out and say that I am not a visitor of Old Town. And that's how it works. But it's also going to pull me. So when I do my Placer AI research, I can select visitor, employee, and resident. So when I pulled these numbers for you, specifically because we're talking about visitors, I sifted out employees and residents to keep them separate.
No, thank you again for that education. It just, it boggles the mind because it doesn't feel like we have, the 24 million?
1.2 million.
1.2 million here, but of course it's spread out over the course of 12 months.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just like, oh man, that's a lot of folks. And then you had touched on meeting with one of the former mayors tomorrow, and so I'm curious what the plans are throughout the year. The holidays are very distinct. They bring a lot of joy, and of course, we don't want to. It would be nice to have that feeling every month throughout the year, but what are the plans to, bring people in throughout the year?
I think our goal is always to ensure that we're doing the best that we can I know that I don't want to speak on behalf of my leadership, but we try to do good with what we can. We don't want to overexert or overextend ourselves. We want to make sure that we're doing a good job with what we can produce.
Yeah.
So without giving too many details of or promising something that we can't produce, I will just say that we're going to work on what we can.
Right. And I wasn't asking you for a roadmap per se. It was just more in the vein of like, how do we continue this without oversaturating? If I'm making sense by saying that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So some things that the holidays are a big focus for us. 4th of July is a big focus for us. So the summer months, we have the Friday night market season that we're planning already and the Thursday night concert series. Other than that, our plan is to partner with Choose Humboldt. So they have different campaigns throughout the year. Their one that they just launched is their Stay and Dine campaign. So it's focused on places that you can stay locally and dine locally. But we do want to do fewer things better and have fewer big events instead of just, I think there's some event fatigue. And so, that's kind of our plan of it, our focus. Our meeting to discuss the holidays for next year is really to kind of recap what we did this year and what we can do better for next year and build on the momentum and just plan ahead better for like our dates and be consistent with Main Street and Henderson Center and just make sure everybody's prepared ahead of time.
No, I'm appreciating that you're taking the debrief to do that. Thank you.
Fewer things better. That's what I was looking for.
Councilmember Castellano?
And to Councilmember Fernandez's question, one thing that I've experienced that Eureka's city staff does really well is also support all of the other events that are put on by other folks, which is huge. I mean, when you actually look at the calendar of events happening throughout the year, there's Railway Coast Music Festival, the Kinetic Sculpture Race, and those aren't events produced by the city, but receive significant staff support. And so I think it's a matter of, also looking at the ways the city is as a partner in supporting kind of the ongoing flourishing.
Anything further? Councilmember Contreras Deloche?
Am I allowed to make a comment or only a question?
No, you can
All
make
right.
a comment.
Okay. Well, first, I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate all of the effort. We did something different this year, and I wanted to kind of report back how that went. Instead of shopping the way that we typically shop for the holidays, we were like, if we can't buy it local, we're not going to buy it at all. And so it took me longer to kind of go place to place, and I spent a lot of time in Old Town, but I found so many interesting, unique things I would have never thought to purchase for my family. And my kids got such a huge kick out of all of the stuff that I found at like the sock shop and at Seymour's that has all these vintage toys, and Land of Lovely. Like, we just found some really incredible gifts, went to the bookstores, and in each of these places, I shared that. I said, basically, if we couldn't find it locally, we weren't going to buy it. That's how we wanted to do Christmas this year. And I loved that while I was down there, it was very packed. That's probably the busiest I've seen it. So this is interesting to get to look at all of this and actually see the data on it. It seemed very busy, but also I noticed that a lot of the shop owners seemed really upbeat and hopeful about stuff, and said that they had a lot of foot traffic and that things were going well. And I just thought that was nice to hear, because in 2024, that was not what I was hearing. And so I was really concerned. Last year, what I got was people reporting to me that was that was one of their harder years. And so I don't know if that's consistent with what you'd heard, but I know that I'm talking to Swan out there, but this was just very heartening, and I kind of wanted to share that just because I did talk to so many different shop owners down there during that time, and we got to do it was really great. And we had the firefighters were doing their toy drive down there. There was Coco. There's all this stuff kind of going on. It was really had a nice community feel. It just seemed like a real success. I would love to just, see that keep going, and whatever, I appreciate all the thought. I think it really netted something and made a difference for our business owners and our community. Thank you for all that effort.
Scott? Okay. Anything further? No? Thank you for your dedication to our city. You guys do such a fabulous job. And what was the one slide where it was like 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023? Would you be willing to show that again? Or can you? The growth that has happened just over time is just incredible. It blows the mind. So, and we know that is because you've been working and you're very focused on making that happen, you and your team. So thank you. Thank you very much for all you do. And with that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
We will move on to public comment period. This is the time for members of the public who wish to be heard on matters that do not appear on the agenda. City Council policy is to limit each speaker to 3 minutes. Such time allotment or portion thereof shall not be transferred to other speakers. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the City Council may not take action on an item that does not appear on the agenda. And a maximum of 30 minutes shall be given or allotted to receiving public comments at the initial comment period. If necessary, an additional period shall be allotted to public comment after city manager reports, but only if the first 30-minute public comment was not sufficient to allow all those who wish to speak. Do we have anyone here this evening that wants to speak in open public comment? Hi, welcome. Make sure the green light's on.
Well, I'm Dave Startery, third generation American and veteran in Eureka, and I have 2 generations behind me. Concerning your ice plant thing last time with the report of fisheries, I was in Redway talking to a crab fisherman truck driver. He hauled a load from Crescent City, and they have ice provision there, and 2 fish companies, and he said it was very easy for him to ice his crab. And being a former Humboldt Transit driver, we don't need a transit center here with apartments. But we could have an ice plant with apartments. The employees could stay there for their wages, and they can make retail ice to sell locally because we get it mostly trucked in. My focus is public safety. I have 3 grandsons, and the first one's driving. The second one's going to be up at the end of the year. When I drove down from Coast Central to here, I was tailgated all the way down to Myrtle and West, and I was passed at Myrtle and West, and the guy met me down here at the light at 5th and Myrtle. So we do need help in that area. We want these people to shop locally, but we want them to feel safe when they cross our streets and drive through our town and not to be pushed around okay. Now, I have friends that are police. Their kids, Charlie Swanson, who died in the line of duty, his son's here. He was my neighbor growing up. This isn't Minneapolis or Derek Chauvin country. This is Eureka. And I love a lot of the police and the work they do. I volunteered there on the first abandoned card committee. Me and Dr. Miller and Debbie that still does it. Still, I stuck my finger on a hypodermic when I was cleaning out a car. But just, they're understaffed. They cut their traffic enforcement department maybe 9 years ago when I was there. We just had a wreck on 299 with 4 kids that were killed by a driver that shouldn't have been on the road. And the police have to go to those things. They have to go dig the crushed kid out of a car, and they never get those pictures out of their head, And I got statistics from your staff today downstairs, about traffic accidents, and they're wonderful down there, by the way, your employees down there. But I have a traffic program this year. It's going to be Drive Safe Eureka for Shirley, and my Aunt Shirley was killed by a drunk driver. I got to take care of my wife for the next 5 weeks. She's getting a new hip, but I'll be back. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Joanne.
Thank you. My name's Joanne McGarry. I am a resident of Arcata, but I do come to Eureka often. In fact, this morning I got up early and hopped on my e-bike and froze on the Humboldt Bay Trail to get to the Board of Supervisors meeting. I deliberately took my bicycle because the bike paths are wonderful in a lot of ways. The parking in Eureka and elsewhere is a real challenge, and we're talking about bringing people into the community, and I would really like for us to strongly look at creating safe, sane bicycle parking, whether it's large bike cages or some indoor thing. With my electric bike, there's no place for me to charge it currently. That's for the public. You have EV charging stations. I was going to ride back to Arcata and then take the bus here for this meeting, but I decided it was such a lovely day. I just rode on the trail all the way down to Sequoia Humane, actually. And by the way, they have some adorable new puppies imported from Oakland. So if you're into cute little dogs, check out Sequoia Humane. But there were certain challenges that I noticed along the way. And one of them was at Vista Del Mar, and the huge flammable tank that's right next to that restaurant, and hoping that some creative murals or art or something can be done to disguise that piece of equipment that's right next to a place that people want to enjoy themselves, but it's sort of a scary juxtaposition. I also went to the Wharfinger and talked about how events there on a Sunday when there's no buses make it difficult for people like me to attend, and I will be going to the HTA meeting tomorrow, and I'll be talking maybe a little bit more on the climate action plan stuff, but I just want to say that I notice a lot of things when I'm walking and bicycling, and I have the time and desire. So I will be bringing these to your attention, because the bike parking issue, if you want people to come to the Friday markets and the Arts Alive and all these events in Old Town, we really need the Welcome Center to welcome bicycles somehow. And the final thing I'm going to say is I want everyone here in Humboldt County to be aware that in Virginia, there are 19 monks walking for peace. They've left Texas in October, and it's one of the most beautiful, beautiful growing movements of peace that I have ever seen. And not a penny was spent to get that kind of attention. It was just mindfulness and peace and loving kindness. And so look up the Walk for Peace.
Thank you, Joanne. Welcome, Denise.
Hello, everyone. Honorable Mayor, council members, Mr. Slattery, and to all who this concerns. We of the Bridge District Neighborhood Watch and proud constituents of the 4th and 5th wards are addressing concerns we have in our area. Our part of the 4th ward has changed since the opening of the trail, and now we shall soon have a playground at the amphitheater. We understand that these projects are a big undertaking, and they have increased traffic to our neighborhoods. With that in mind, we have taken the liberty to create a management list to assist Mr. Slattery, city manager, to help prioritize what we think is important to Eureka's prosperity, health, and well-being. We would like to see this list accomplished by the end of April, sir. Number 1, we would like to relocate the services of Hatcher on Tuesdays at the Samoa Boat Launch. There has been a remarkable positive difference since they have moved from their 3rd Street location almost a year ago, and the criminal element has been significantly reduced. With more children present on the waterfront, we need the same result in the Samoa Bridge parking lot. Our suggestion is for Hatcher to utilize their mobile unit both Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Open Door Clinic on Tidd Street. Number 2, renovate, clean the bathrooms in the parking lot for health and safety of all, and add a Portland loo for 24/7 availability for those using the trail. We understand the costs and potential benefits to the city. From our initial research, we are willing to help fundraise. They are between $45,000 and $60,000. Every penny, it's worth it. Number 3, replace the sharp container that was mounted on the wall of the bathrooms in that parking lot. We need to have a secure and safe place to dispose of needles we sometimes find walking the area. It was removed in April of 2025. Please check the frequency of the street sweeper under the bridge and add 2 more open and closed signs to the entrance of the boathouse. It helps EPD remove and disperse people who are contaminating the area and thinking for long-term parking. We look forward to seeing these improvements for our community. We are more than willing to help any way we can. We recognize EPD and city crews.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank
Your
you.
time is up.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Sheila, and I'm also a member of the Bridge District. My comments are going to focus on addiction. I've worked with addicts for 35 years. I've been clean myself for 50 years this coming May. I know what it takes to get clean and to stay clean. I find it frustrating that the city seems to want to give addicts what they need to use drugs and not give them the consequences that would help them stop using drugs. The needles help them use. When you help them use, you are literally helping them kill themselves. When their addiction has gotten them to the point of homelessness, they are well on their way to an early death. Now, about 8 months ago, we had an ordinance introduced here that would have gotten homeless drug addicts the treatment that they need when they repeatedly break the law. instead of going to jail, although jail itself can be beneficial because they get clean and they have time to think about their life. And many addicts change their life from a jail cell. Anyway, this was supported. This ordinance was supported by many people that work in the trenches with the homeless population. Here it was supported by Brian Hall that manages the rescue mission. He himself had been a homeless drug addict, so he knows. In fact, it was partially created by people that work in the trenches with the homeless population here in this city. I was so dismayed that council members Fernandez, Contreras, Deloche, Castellano voted this ordinance down. I couldn't believe it. I mean, Betty Chin, the saint of our city, supported this ordinance. I mean, you love to praise her, but apparently not to listen to her. It appears we may have some radicals on our city council who believe that people should be able to use illegal substances, that all drugs should be legal, that homeless people should be able to live wherever they want, including camp wherever they want, while using drugs. Well, I think the people of Eureka need to be clear about the positions of who they are voting to represent them on the city council. When you debated the ordinance and listened for hours to activists who don't even live in the city of Eureka, you voted it down. You said it needed to be rewritten. So how's that going? It's been 8 months. Have you looked at it? Have you rewritten it? Have you given our police anything to use to give consequences? I'm just disgusted.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in chambers who'd like to speak in open public comment? Come on up. Hello.
I'm here because I need answers. The most humiliating part is that your IT analyst was so indifferent to me as to record, curate, and eventually show off intimate videos. Without cognizance, I was the person he was aiming your phone at. When I told him to delete them, all he said was, he can't lose any footage of his boyfriend. Asking him to let me crop my face out was damage control, after he'd already launched videos of my body into the clouds out of my control. Weeks after you had his buddy search the network drives, EPD found your phone serving as an adult film studio. Whether he had a policy exemption or you approved it on the spot, it was your duty to ensure all parties depicted in your adult film productions are consenting. You handed your phone back to him, knowing he sent me the videos that he admitted to police I did not consent to the creation of. I never saw malice in his actions until he used your microphone to explain why I deserved it. I was so disrespectful, I insulted him for not being out. Unfortunately, my autism doesn't let me leave nonsense alone. Had Derek ever bothered to use his words, he would know he is further out than I am. Why let me empathize when he could just tell the city council? Because withholding material fact, whether by calling me their friend to hide their contempt, or discreetly recording me on his work phone, allowed them to deny me informed consent. I had no polite way to convey that doing whatever he wished over and over after I've said stop, or that hurts, is assault. Debating it or going, he really likes it, is coercion. But Derek took the liberty to ignore me when I asked politely. Only once I found the courage to say no without apologizing, he and his boyfriend broke their silence to tell me they had enough of my demands, as if my body didn't belong to me. Any bid to protect myself was, to use Derek's words to police, a request he'll try to accommodate. He finally spoke without a proxy last meeting to preach about virtue signaling as an ally, while in practice, he believes bodily autonomy is a privilege predicated by how much respect he's shown. Never had anyone claimed to care about me while reacting to the harm they inflicted with fury they wouldn't explain, than to tell the city council I'm an abuser for having no one but myself to defend me from Derek's impulses. If abuse is expecting basic human rights from men who are accustomed to being emotionally jerked off rather than held accountable, evidently, this country needs more abusers to stop the national rollback of said rights. Allyship is confronting your biases, to see us as people, even when forfeiting the comfort of ignorance about how you benefit at our expense feels to you like losing rights. I only ask the council if you disclaim all liability for what he filmed himself doing on your hardware and oversight, Why is Derek Howard still a public servant?
All right. Is there anyone else in chambers that would like to speak on non-agenda items? Did I say speed? Speak. Speak, yes. Okay, seeing no one, do you see anyone on Zoom?
Amy?
Hi, I hope everyone's doing well. I was just hopping on to just check in and hear what was going on tonight. And I just wanted to address how grateful I am to the council for not passing the camping ordinance last year. As a current social worker who really appreciates all the work of the people who have come before and who continue to provide services to people who are struggling in our community. I also really recognize that the discipline has changed over the years, and we are flush and abundant with research demonstrating that criminalization of homelessness and of drug use actually isn't helpful in helping people get clean or solving the issue of homelessness. Homelessness continues to be a policy issue, not a personal issue. It's really hard to see people struggling in this way, but when you look at the economics of our county, when you look at the concentration of wealth in fewer and fewer hands in this country, and the experience that the adverse childhood experience rates of our area, like there's a reason that we have this struggle. And I just think that it's time to really start focusing on these community-based initiatives and ways that we can support each other that follow evidence-based best practices. We have an amazing social work program here at Cal Poly Humboldt that can really be a great resource to understand the root causes of these issues and best practices to help people find agency in their lives and be supported economically to better their circumstances. I think Uplift is doing a great job in connecting people to resources. I think there's a lot of great programs that are happening. And, you know, hopefully the affordable housing that we've worked so hard to pass will help alleviate some of the burdens that we're experiencing in that area. But yeah, please reach out, Amy Scott, if you want a nice long list of resources, or I mean, every council person and Mr. Slattery has access to the resource that I provided last year. So thank you very much, council. I appreciate you following the research and listening to those who not only are working in the trenches, but are keeping up to date with current resources and best practices. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marissa?
Hi, I wanted to come on here and echo everything that Amy just said and thank the council for prioritizing taking care of our community members as humans. Like Amy outlined, there's numerous bodies of research about how prioritizing housing is the best and most cost-effective way to support our unhoused community members, and that we can save a lot of money by treating them as humans and providing housing instead of trying to criminalize their existence and criminalize their existence in a system that has systemically neglected them. So thank you all for treating our community as human beings, and I think the best way that we can improve our region and our self-confidence, which I've heard has been talked about before, is really to take care of our most vulnerable community members, and it will save us money in sweeps and policing and incarceration. So yeah, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I see no one else.
Okay. Seeing no one else, we will close public comment. And this will take us to the consent calendar. All matters listed under this category are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. Pursuant to City Council Resolution 2011-22, if a member of the public would like an item on the consent calendar pulled and discussed separately, The request shall be made to council member prior to the meeting. Unless a specific request is made by a council member, the consent calendar will not be read. There will be no separate discussion of these items, and I haven't heard of anything being pulled. All right, so if we could get a motion and
I move approval of the consent calendar, and just to the chair, Mayor, you did skip the council reports, but I'm sure we can.
we're going to
go
come back to
those.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Great, so we have a motion and a second. Any comments? Please vote.
Unanimous yes vote, motion carries.
And this takes us to council reports. Councilmember Castellano.
Sorry, thank you. I do have a little travel report, which was just one reason why I had to make sure to get it in there. I did travel to Sacramento for to chair the Housing, Community, and Economic Development Policy Committee, and I really want to thank Director Kenyon for making the trip to represent the city of Eureka there and present as a committee. Oh, you're here. Hi. It was, just such an honor having your leadership and experience in the room, and the other city council members really appreciated the chance to hear about our experience with this round of RHNA, Regional Housing Needs Allocation. And then I also went and toured the Hempcrete accessory dwelling unit that's here in Eureka, and that was it's just a really neat project. And I appreciate that, they were also really supportive and said great things about working with city staff on that project. And then the Humboldt Asians and Pacific Islanders in Solidarity Monument groundbreaking, and I think many of us were there. And thanks to Councilmember Bauer for sharing some great words, and then the Eureka Main Street Economic Vitality Committee.
Councilmember Moulton.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any travel to report, but I'll go backwards here. I attended the Chamber of Commerce award banquet for local businesses, the Happy Monument ground blessing, the COP board meeting, which was very interesting and engaging. Big engaged crowd, great questions, really good to see. And congratulations to Humboldt Bay Fire Battalion Chief John Chambers for his promotion to Deputy Fire Chief. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Councilmember Fernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's see. We were supposed to have a 2x2 with Eureka City Schools, but it seems that was rescheduled. I had my meeting with the Redwood Region Economic Development Commission. We had a presentation from Harbor Manager Chris Mickelson. It's obvious that it still hurts to lose the almost $420 million worth of federal grants that were supposed to be had, I think, back in August of 2025. And so wind energy still on pause, but they're trying to coordinate something with the state on the availability of Prop 4 funds, the proposition that we approved back in 2024 as a state. And then also from that commission, we approved and are sending to each of our constituent pieces a newly amended joint powers agreement. So I'm hoping we can get that on our next agenda. Attended the Government Transparency and Labor Relations Policy Committee at the League of Cities in Sacramento. Suffice to say, at least when it came to the budget, it was the budget of the state. The lenses of the governor are very rose-tinted, and we'll have to wait until May 15th for at least something closer to reality. And then it seems that our discussion was mostly dominated by AI use and policies around such. And so that's something I know that I'd like to at least have a conversation more in depth about with city staff. And then, of course, over the last few weeks, I'm grateful for the people that have been showing up to protest the current administration's use of ICE agents and immigration policies. And I want to thank the chief and the Eureka Police Department and its approach to keeping the demonstrations peaceful and safe. Just last week as well, I was invited to speak at a vigil for Alex Preddy by the California Nurses Association and their union members at St. Joseph's. And suffice to say, it was quite emotional, but needed given the amount of safety, care, and compassion that these medical professionals provide in their day-to-day tasks of their profession. And I think I saw all of the council members at the Chinatown Memorial dedication, and everyone had great words just from everyone who spoke. And so thank you, Councilmember Bauer, for what you had put together, and to County Supervisor Natalie Arroyo. Lastly, I'm working with city staff on scheduling my town hall sometime in March, maybe. Probably April, though, it seems, regarding our own city budget and its processes, and looking forward to getting input from constituents and folks. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Bauer.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's see. First, Redwood Coast Energy Authority, we had a board meeting not too long ago, and we elected a new chair. So I am no longer chair, which makes me kind of sad because it's a great organization and super fun to work with. But giving somebody else a chance at it. I got to have dinner with a Sports Illustrated writer who was hopefully going to say great words about our community and write up a good story about mainly fishing, but we'll take it. I did have some travel. I attended the Cal City's Environmental Quality Committee, and just a quick, there's not a lot of bills yet for us to get involved in as a League of California Cities, but kind of laying the groundwork for environmental quality is, our focus is to review issues related to air, water quality, climate change, CEQA, waste management, hazardous materials, coastal issues, and utilities. So those are the things we focus on when it comes to legislation and things that improve the quality of our communities, or improve our communities and improve the environment, which was fun. I also vice chair that committee. I had a meeting at Cal City's Finance Committee, so I help ensure that Cal City's finances are all tip top. I got to speak at the Chinatown groundbreaking, the memorial, and I'm honored, and I just think I can't wait for this the memorial to be constructed. It'll be a great thing for the community to learn about our history, which often is challenging for us to think about, but important that we remember history, especially in times like these. And lastly, I attended the Chamber of Commerce Gala, which was great, and there were some great speeches. Dale Maples knocked it out of the park with his speech about him and his fourth generation of running a business. Kudos to you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Contreras-Deloche.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to go kind of in reverse order. So I also got to attend the Humboldt Asian and Pacific Islanders Chinatown Monument groundbreaking. I know I told you that there, but I really appreciated your remarks, Councilmember Bauer. They were really thoughtful, very touching. I got to attend the Chamber of Commerce Business Awards dinner, and I want to congratulate Ashley Velas again, who's done so much here locally. They all had, and we were all very touched, like Councilmember Bauer said, the comments that Mr. Maples gave about his family, just the humility and the kindness and generosity that their family, I know his wife Jill through foster care and other things that we have worked on, and they're such a generous family. It was nice to see them honored. I got to visit with Assemblyman Damon Connolly while he was here, played tour guide for him a little bit. Met with some local business members about some different economic goals and some concerns about that. Met with Supervisor Bone regarding the county's homelessness ad hoc. I'll bring up that later when we do for future agenda items. Went to the Cal Cities sponsored and governor's office care court meeting today. It was over Zoom. My takeaways from that are, I'm concerned that it's not going to have really the kind of impact I think that a lot of us were hoping that it was going to have. I mean, that's my personal opinion after sitting there, in part because it seems like they're almost going to be implementing things as a city we've really already taken the lead on. And so I don't know how much of difference it's going to make. I guess time will see. Met with some teachers and guidance counselor here about children that are kind of aging out of communities. It's kind of an adjacent, they're trying to find them housing. They're in this kind of strange gap. And I bring this up because this ties into my Cal Cities appointment, which was on community services. This is the first year I've served on that. If I understand right, it's because Councilmember Bauer purloined my tax and revenue appointment. But actually, I think it was really good. I got down there and realized that. So I had requested that we put children on there, and that and kind of moving forward goals around childcare, but also expansion of foster care services. I didn't expect to do it. I actually got up and argued for that and got it on our agenda for this year. So it was on the heels of having met with somebody up here and finding out about these kids are slipping into and I'm sure the mayor is well aware of this because she works with these children, that they're slipping into these little gaps and right around 18 years old, and they're at risk of homelessness because of it. So it's been a busy couple of weeks, but good couple of weeks.
Thank you. And I have a few things. Let's see. So I had the honor of swearing in the new board for the Chamber of Commerce. Teresa Connolly is the new president. She's from Premier Financial. I was able with Councilmember Castellano and Jeff Davis and City Manager Slattery to present 2 different checks, one to Food for People and one for St. Vincent de Paul to support food security in our region. It was such a blessing to be there and to have those tours and see all those people. And at that event, this was so awesome, you guys. We have an Uplift employee, Robert Williams, who's been with the city for 5 years. He's housed so many people in our community. And I got to give him his 5-year pin. It's actually been almost 6 years now. And if you ever meet him, he is just a man full of humility. And he just has such a love for our community. And so that was a real gift to be able to do that. I attended the Chamber Gala and gave out certificates from the city along with Supervisor Arroyo and 2 other people who I know, but they're not coming to my from Chris Roberts' office. And anyway, some other people that are I can't think of it. So that's fine. But we were there. It was fabulous. And I, too, really want to talk about, I don't want to talk about it, but I just want to honor the people that won. And again, talking along the same lines of humility, what a blessing to watch Mr. Maples give that talk about his family and his life here in Eureka, because he was born here. He was born here, went to Eureka High, and it just... what a blessing to know that we have people that are like that in our community that are just so giving. And, he's not the only one. We have a lot of people in our community like that. And it was just nice to hear him. I attended the groundbreaking for I'm going to totally blow this, Lakil Udak, the Elders Village project with the Wiyot tribe, which is happening right next door at 6th and L. I attended a cleanup with Pack Out Green Team. Again, you guys, I'll tell you, if you have not been, I encourage you to go. It's super fun. You get to hang out with our community, beautiful outdoor. We live in paradise, so not much wrong with that. Let's see. I attended the Happy Inn again. I mentioned to you earlier, Councilmember Bauer, but this guy, his remarks were fabulous, and as well as Supervisor Arroyo. And if you want to listen to what Councilmember Bauer and Supervisor Arroyo and some of the speakers had to say, it's on my Facebook page, so it's a live stream. You can go on there and actually listen to them. And I think you will be as moved as many of us were at that event. Clam Beach Run is happening Saturday at 9:30 a.m., so get your shoes out and come on down. That's going to be fabulous, 5.75 miles. Our mental health town hall is happening May 9th, so put that on your calendar, save the date. And then lastly, I wasn't going to, but I really feel compelled to, I went to the protest as well with my son. It was a beautiful day. What an honor to be out there with my kids, or my kid. My other kid doesn't live here. But I just want to read a statement that I put out because it's this has really been bothering me a lot, and so I want to just speak to it in this moment. So I'm going to. So not just as mayor, but as a human being, I am sickened and heartbroken over what is happening in Minneapolis. Alex Preddy was an ICU nurse. His job was to save lives. When he saw a woman pushed to the ground, he did what any good person would do. He stepped up to help. For that, he was held down and shot. Many of us watched it happen, and we can't unsee it. I wish I could unsee it. I can't unsee it. What hurts almost as much as the killing itself is being told that what we saw wasn't real, that we should doubt our own eyes, that Alex Preddy was somehow a criminal who deserved what happened to him. I refuse to accept that. And I know I'm not alone. This is not about politics. This isn't about left or right. This is about right and wrong. No one should die for trying to help someone else. No one should be murdered in the street while people plead for it to stop. And no government should try to explain away a killing instead of owning it and answering for it. Now, I believe we can stand up without becoming hateful. I believe we can demand justice without losing our humanity. And I believe we can continue to stand in unity, lift each other up, and care for each other in these dark moments. And as Martin Luther King says, one of my heroes, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Let us be the light right now. Let us take care of one another, and let us refuse to accept that this is our America. And that will take us to ordinances. Humboldt County Regional Action Plan, Climate Action Plan with Senior Planner Lo Hefner. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Chris Lo Hefner, Senior Planner here at the City. Before you is consideration of adopting the Humboldt Regional Climate Action Plan, or the RCAP. This presentation will briefly cover what the RCAP is, how it was developed, what it includes, and what adoption would mean for the City of Eureka. So what is the RCAP? Well, broadly, it's a regional planning document developed in response to state climate requirements, including Senate Bill 32 and Assembly Bill 1279. These state laws set long-term greenhouse gas reduction targets, including reducing emissions to 40% below 1990 levels by 2030 and achieving carbon neutrality by 2045. Development of the RCAP was led by Humboldt County with participation from all 7 local jurisdictions and applies across both incorporated and unincorporated areas of the county. The overall intent is to provide a coordinated regional framework to address and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Tonight, the Council is being asked to adopt the RCAP for city planning and implementation purposes. Importantly, this is a policy and planning decision, not approval of any development, infrastructure project, or funding commitment. And just a bit of background. In 2019, the city joined the county and other incorporated cities in signing a memorandum of understanding to pursue a shared countywide regional climate action plan. And when the 2022 version of that document was drafted, it required some adjustments to function as an effective countywide implementation plan and went back to the drawing board. Following that, the RCAP was revised with public outreach and regional participation taking place over several years. This included early and iterative public engagement, a countywide survey conducted in May of 2024, and formal public review as part of the environmental review process. The revised draft RCAP was then released in August 2024, followed by preparation and circulation of a draft environmental impact report in early 2025. And then in December 2025, the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors adopted the final RCAP and certified the associated environmental impact report. And for Eureka specifically, the overall process has included staff participation in regional working groups to develop the RCAP, supporting the county's workshops and public outreach throughout Eureka, providing reviews and input on the plan and its environmental documents, and providing regular updates to council. The council itself has also discussed the benefits and impacts of a climate action plan at numerous strategic visioning sessions. And after a years-long process, tonight's action is for the City Council to consider adoption of the RCAP as the city's climate action plan. Oops, where's that going? So what's included in the RCAP? The RCAP is built around countywide greenhouse gas inventory and reduction targets that align with state climate goals. It replaces the 2015 inventory with an updated 2022 inventory to help with determining realistic targets for greenhouse gas reductions. The inventory documents the primary sources of emissions in the county, with on-road transportation and natural gas use in buildings as the main contributors. The RCAP projects the county's emission forecast and reduction targets by sector, such as transportation, building energy, waste, and water, and recognizes that implementation looks different in urban and rural areas. And where feasible, it also evaluates individual implementation measures and quantifies their expected greenhouse gas reductions to provide a consistent metric for tracking progress and reporting. It is worth noting that the emissions forecast and targeted reductions are calculated regionally, not tied to any one jurisdiction or area. The RCAP also recommends sector-based strategies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and organizes its emissions reductions approach under 11 overarching strategies, including a cornerstone strategy focused on regional coordination. So for cities like Eureka, the plan emphasizes urban-focused strategies such as infill development, transportation choices, and building upgrades, as well as less concrete yet still supportive measures such as regional coordination, shared staffing and governance structures, and other actions that help jurisdictions align efforts and pursue funding opportunities. To put the RCAP implementation measures into context, they generally fall into two categories. Some measures are quantified, meaning the RCAP estimates their greenhouse gas reductions in metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. Examples include expanding public transit network to increase mode shift to transit, reducing non-residential gas use, and increasing commercial use of zero-emission vehicles. Other measures are supportive. They don't necessarily have specific emissions number attached, but are nonetheless critical to making the quantified measures achievable. Supportive measures include things like coordination through a regional climate committee and a shared climate program manager, transportation demand management plans for large employers, and advocating for green energy options such as offshore wind development. The RCAP includes over 24 measures, which are further broken down into well over 100 individual action items. Those action items are not mandates, but a detailed menu of options that jurisdictions can draw from, adapt, or defer based on local priorities and capacity. Together, the quantified and supportive efforts function as a package. Some actions produce measurable reductions, while others provide the structure and capacity needed to deliver those results. The RCAP is also designed to be implemented over time, with regional progress tracking and periodic updates as conditions, funding, and capacities change. So why adopt the RCAP? Well, it places Eureka within a broader regional partnership framework rather than having the city approach climate-related planning on its own. Key regional partners include Humboldt County Association of Governments, Humboldt Transit Authority, Redwood Coast Energy Authority, and Humboldt Waste Management, along with the county and other incorporated cities. These agencies all play central roles in transportation, energy, waste, and infrastructure planning, areas where outcomes depend heavily on regional coordination. In addition, many climate and infrastructure-related funding programs prioritize or in some cases even require regional coordination. Adoption helps position Eureka to compete for grants and participate in partnerships with the county and other agency when those opportunities arise. The RCAP is essentially intended to function as a roadmap, not a prescriptive work plan. The city still has local flexibility for moving forward on priorities we're already working on, and would gain a long-term menu of strategies to draw from as opportunities arise. Importantly, the city has discretion over implementation strategies to pursue, how to tailor them to local conditions, and when or whether to move them through future council actions or other decision-making processes. Finally, the adoption of the RCAP helps implement the city's already adopted plans and priorities. The city's 2040 general plan includes policies calling for regional coordination on greenhouse gas reduction, as well as preparation of a climate action plan to meet state targets. And the City Council's 2025-26 strategic vision specifically identifies adoption of a regional climate action plan as a priority, consistent with numerous prior strategic visions adopted by the Council. And a brief discussion of the CEQA roles and responsibilities. Humboldt County served as the CEQA lead agency for development of the RCAP. As part of that process, the county prepared a programmatic environmental impact report to evaluate adoption of the RCAP as a policy and planning document. That EIR looks at potential environmental effects at a broad programmatic level, but does not approve or authorize any specific projects. As part of that environmental analysis, the county acknowledged that future implementation of RCAP strategies could result in environmental impacts associated with project and infrastructure development. The EIR therefore included mitigation measures along with a statement of overriding considerations, which acknowledges those potential future impacts and outlines best practices and considerations for addressing them as specific projects are proposed. And as I mentioned, in December 2025, the Board of Supervisors adopted the final RCAP and certified that final EIR. And at that same hearing, the board also discussed and adopted CEQA greenhouse gas thresholds of significance for county use. Those thresholds are standards applied during future project reviews to determine when a project's emissions may be considered environmentally significant and require additional analysis or mitigation. Tonight, the city is acting as the CEQA responsible agency and is being asked to rely on the county certified EIR to support adoption of the RCAP as a planning document. As a responsible agency, the city is required to review and consider the county's EIR and make its own findings that the EIR is adequate for purposes of RCAP adoption. Those findings are all included in the attached resolution. And finally, while the county adopted specific greenhouse thresholds, as I mentioned, those thresholds are not part of the city's action tonight. The council is only being asked to consider adoption of the RCAP and to rely on that EIR for that limited purpose. So what are the next steps? At the regional level, the RCAP envisions formation of a regional climate committee made up of staff from the county, the cities, and key regional agencies. The committee would help coordinate implementation, pursue funding, develop shared tools, and support regional progress tracking. The RCAP also envisions a shared climate program manager position to support that work. Regional partners are already discussing where that position might be housed, how it would be funded, and how governments would be structured. And as of now, the committee and program manager are expected to be housed at either HCOG or RCEA. At the city level, staff would develop a city-specific RCAP work plan. That work plan would identify which RCAP measures are relevant to Eureka, prioritize near-term actions aligned with existing city programs and adopted plans, outline staffing and resource needs, and establish an implementation and reporting approach. Staff would also continue participating in regional discussions to help finalize the recommended placement and structure of the committee and program manager. Any future steps, whether related to staffing, funding policy updates, or a city-specific work plan, would come back to council for consideration and direction. So tonight's decision is about adopting a regional planning framework that the city can use over time while maintaining flexibility with future implementation decisions affecting the city directly. Staff believe that all of the required findings can be made to adopt the RCAP, and it is therefore staff's recommendation to adopt the Humboldt Regional Climate Action Plan as the city's climate action plan and make the required CEQA findings based on the county's certified environmental impact report. I do have a suggested motion, but we'll stop screen sharing at this point, and I'm available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? Councilmember Castellano?
Thank you for the report. Quick questions. The timeline for the adoption of the Eureka specific plan? Or it was mentioned that there would be a plan brought back to Eureka that would be kind of specific to our part in the plan.
So in terms of implementing, how we implement the RCAP?
Yes.
Well, so that's just kind of to be determined. We just need to we need to finalize what's going on with the climate committee and the climate program manager, and then just see how that fits in with what our work is looking like, and come up with some strategies and analyze staffing and resources. So I would guess probably a couple of months, but it's hard to say. We're still waiting on other jurisdictions to make their decisions.
Thank you. Yeah, and that makes sense. It's, definitely we have to kind of wait until our time. And then do we already have a staff member who's going to be serving on the regional committee? Is it going to be you, Planner Lohofer?
As of right now, it's been Director Kenyon and myself, more so her. She's been much more involved over the years, and we're just kind of, again, waiting till the leaves fall and what makes most sense. It'll kind of depend on staffing availability and what the overall workload's going to look like.
Great. And then, it makes a lot of sense, and I realize why we're really looking at the public sector in terms of the climate action plan. But will there be kind of later in the process kind of more coordination with the private sector in terms of like how can we support them and kind of embracing some of the climate action plan goals?
I think that would be the hope. There's a lot of measures and actions that are very cross-disciplinary and would certainly be something that the private sector would want to be involved with. I think the mechanics of that are going to get worked out once we have the climate committee in place and figure out who exactly is going to be doing that kind of work. And of course, we have the regional partners, HTA and RCAA and others that are going to be probably taking on some level of that role. It'll just kind of become a little bit more clear, I think, in the coming months.
Yeah, we'll get there. I get totally. And since I serve on the Humboldt Transit Authority and Humboldt Waste Management Authority boards, it's nice to see that there's plans for them in this as well. And so I'm sure I'll be seeing it in other spaces too. So cool. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fernandez.
Thank you for the presentation. This is obviously something that was been going on since before I've been on council. We're into 7 years now at this point, it seems, and it seemed like there was a hiccup maybe back in 22 or 24, had to go back and then come back to us, and now here we are. So that's fantastic. We're here. Feels a little disingenuous with some of the questions I had, just because we need to go to the at the higher level with the county to put that together for Eureka to make some decisions on how we make these changes moving forward. Then that's kind of what I'm, or at least that's what I had taken from the question from Councilmember Castellano. Correct?
I'm not sure I understood the question. Sorry.
We can't really make a whole lot of decisions until we have, as a city, we can't put a lot into place until we have some feedback from this county committee, correct?
Yeah, I think the regional committee is going to inform how we interact with this RCAP and how we address implementation. You know, there's going to be all the jurisdictions in the county and all the partners kind of collaborating to figure out what the immediate strategies are going to be that we implement, and kind of working out the committee and staffing position is going to help us figure out, you know, where to start and you know, how to engage with this thing.
Because I know in the report it was saying that you know, reducing carbon footprint for residential by 4%. It's like, oh, I'm thinking, how do we do that? And it's like, so we just got to press pause for a moment and kind of coordinate with the other entities to figure out what we can do. Correct?
For the most part, I think, you know, there is a recognition that there's city-specific policies and things that we can be doing, and I think we're already doing a lot of those things. It's just going to be a matter of coordinating, you know, how we're tracking that, how we're analyzing our impacts, you know, for the things that are happening right now, and then trying to pick that low-hanging fruit internally to figure out, you know, how we can start this work. And some of it will dovetail with the committee. Some of it will, you know, depend on what the broader committee wants everybody to do as a sort of regional collaborative effort. But
yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to get to, because I know with like the bike lanes we have in place and the Beta Zoo Trail, just having those alternative paths there, and even still in some ways, you know, still budding, developing microtransit. Just what are some places that you could identify, would identify steps that we've taken to implement some of these recommendations outlined here? Are you able to point to any?
Well, some of it, some of the broader implementation measures are shifting or mode shift, you know, getting more people to use non-motorized transportation. So bike lanes and supportive facilities are going to be key to that. Same with public transit, developing, you know, the first mile and last mile efforts, getting more supportive infrastructure all around. And I know the city's already been working on that with our housing projects and developing bike lanes and bike boulevards and sort of establishing that infrastructure network that will facilitate that mode shift. So all of that can be quantified. And then there's, you know, more of those supportive measures where we're going to be working with our regional partners to figure out what other mechanisms we can do to support their efforts.
Thank you.
And I'll just add on top of what Senior Panel Lohefner said is state regulations. I mean, electrification and housing, a lot of those things are going to come from the state level, and mandates from the state for other purposes. Obviously, council can be more restrictive or more ambitious about those things if they choose to, and we can do our own to do what we can in public as well as private sector. I mean, if we really wanted to, AB 1383, the compost thing, we can expedite. It's not a good an example because we don't have the capacity to do so, but there is an option to do those things.
Start our own version of the Tennessee Valley Authority here in Eureka. Yeah. All right.
Any further questions? Councilmember Castellano?
Just one more question. As I'm sitting here thinking, I'm just also imagining, you know, once we get to the point of adopting the sort of Eureka specific, you know, climate action plan, that we could have some sort of, you know, to Councilmember Fernandez's question, kind of like metrics in, you know, various staff reports. Like, you know, if we adopt a housing thing, we could say, oh, this also satisfies goal X, Y, or Z in the climate action plan, so we can kind of see how we're tracking those measures too in terms of the work we're doing.
Yeah, that would be great. And I think there'll be internal mechanisms like that, trying to figure out what's going to be the best way to track what, you know, how we're accomplishing these goals or trying to reach those goals. There'll be, you know, cross-departmental collaboration too, and trying to figure out, you know, how our facilities are making retrofits and what those numbers are going to look like, and how we, how we incorporate all those numbers, as a city effort, and then, add those to the counties or the regional quantification of our reduction efforts.
And I just want to make one clarification. When we talk about specific plan, this is our climate action plan. We'll bring back programs, projects, other things that will comply with this that'll be specific to Eureka in order to comply with the plan. I just didn't want to get the public confused that we're going to come back to you guys with a whole nother EIR and another climate action plan. That's not going to happen.
Sorry, yeah, thank you for that. That is what I meant, and thanks for clarifying for the public.
Great. If there are no further questions, we'll open this item up for public comment. Is there anyone in chambers that'd like to speak on this item? Hello, Joanne.
Hi, my name's Joanne McGarry. I braided my hair for Greta Thunberg, so I sometimes call myself McGreta, son of Greta Thunberg, because what she has had to say over the years in her wisdom and knowledge and advocacy for the climate is been profound, and I've been following this whole thing for all these many years. And I guess I just want to say bureaucracy and the plod of this whole plan has just been very disappointing to me. This is something we urgently needed to do many, many years ago. And that whatever happened in 2022 and it was sent back to the drawing board, it's kind of unacceptable that it's now 4 years later. And, accept the regional action plan. I was at the meeting when the Board of Supervisors approved it. They, got a little weird about sacrificing so much, but we have 4 years to do something. I don't know if you saw that piece of the pie, but 73% is transportation. So I go back to, bicycles, for example. Yeah, bike paths, great. But bike parking in the apartments you're going to build right next to City Hall here, what is going to be? I have to park my bicycle in my living space. That's unacceptable. We have to plan our future for no more fossil-fueled cars, individual cars, and collective travel, bicycles, walking, doing things different. And we really need to educate and insist that the communities, the members of our community, abide, and alert them that this is happening, because it's just sort of slowly seeped into the discussion. And so I just want you to please approve this climate action plan, waste reduction as well, events, back to the Welcome Center. We need to do things when we're planning events and such that climate action and greenhouse gas reductions are in the plan for an event. And how are we going to have sort of events and have people come to them in large numbers, but not, the traditional way of getting here in your individual car. I mean, we really, really need to be radical and exceptional and revolutionary in doing this stuff. So adopt this and let's get to work and talk about it, and everybody individually here do what they can. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in chambers who'd like to speak on this item? Seeing no one, is there anyone on Zoom? So we'll close the public comment and bring it back to council for a motion, second, and discussion. Councilmember Bauer.
I guess I can make a motion, then we can discuss.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can we get the motion back up there? Suggested motion. All right. I'll move the city council adopt a resolution adopting the Humboldt County or the Humboldt Regional Climate Action Plan as the City of Eureka's Climate Action Plan, and making the required CEQA findings based on the county certified environmental impact report.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Comments?
Yeah.
Councilmember Bauer?
Continue. First, I want to thank staff, Humboldt County staff. There's been a lot of people involved in this, and I too share the frustration that it's taken so long. This is a huge endeavor, and we need to move with all alacrity, right? I mean, we don't have a lot of time to make pretty significant changes to the way how we live. And I know, this is the first step, right? This is simply laying the groundwork for us to take real action. And I think it was Councilmember Castellano that was asking about, the private sector. Transportation is 80% or close to it, and that's trucking, right? We're going to need a lot of infrastructure to transform how we live. And I think I forget the total number of chargers, but was it between 3,000 and 5,000 or even more than that we'll need? We have to develop hydrogen power. We have to do all these things that require massive investment in money and time. And it's quite an endeavor, but it's great that we finally, or at least to this point, it's been a long time. And I'm grateful that the staff have put together a great document, and the county's done a great job. But I'm super grateful that we're here today talking about this, and look forward to seeing what we can do with our partners at the county and the private sector. They're instrumental in us actually achieving what we need to achieve. So look forward to working with them on it in the future. Thanks.
Comments? Okay, Councilmember Castellano.
Sure. They were sort of implied in my questions, but I do look forward to really kind of creating a guidebook for how the city is going to, be enacting these measures once it goes back to the county, and we are further along in the process. And then, and I do think that there's some opportunity to, create some fun challenges or like partnerships, challenge our partners to kind of jump into this process with us. So yeah, and thank you for all of your work on it.
Okay. Well, seeing no further comment, please vote.
Unanimous yes vote. Motion carries.
Great. Legislative action correspondence. Anybody have any? Not yet, I'm hearing. All right. Future agenda items. Councilmember Contreras-Deloche.
Yeah, Mayor, this had been requested some months ago, but it was early last year that we started the homeless ad hoc, and I was wondering if we could do, a brief report out on what we've learned so that we can kind of inform all of the council at the same time about some of the issues we discovered, some of the partnerships, possibilities, and what the city's been able to accomplish. Yeah. Cool. So how does that work?
That's what I'm curious as a point of
Do
order.
I get to stand on the other side of this?
Could I do that under mayor's reports, or would that be something that we would have to open to public comment, etc.?
Well, it's up to your discretion. I mean, if the members of the ad hoc committee from the council want to provide a report and then have staff support them in that report, we could do it that way.
Yeah.
It's
what I would not like to do, but what I would like to do. Actually, what I think would be helpful, I think better if I present the way I would normally present when I'm in meetings, even though you guys have never seen me do that. It might be easier for me to sit over there and on that side of things. Can I work the clicker from here?
I can work the clicker from here, so
but
you can definitely work
I
the
would like to
clicker from
coordinate
there.
with staff and stuff like that, because obviously staff is the one that's been doing all this work and been the impetus behind all that stuff. So I could coordinate with city manager.
That works for us.
And it sounds like it'll be a report. It won't be anything we're voting on, so we could probably do that.
No, yeah, just a report.
Great. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Get you in. All right. Councilmember Fernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. Similar vein as Councilmember Contreras-Deloche, just because I know you had brought up learning more about the care courts, and I'm always blanking on that acronym, so I'm sorry. But just from your perspective, at least hearing how there may not be a lot for us to utilize given what we offer at the city level, I'm curious if we might be able to get a report then if we're able to, or if there's any point in coordinating.
I've had a lot of recent discussions with managing mental health clinician Jake Rosen, and he had the same viewpoint as Council Member Contreras-Deloche, but we've had a lot of success here locally recently. So I could likely have him bring back a city manager's report and give a report on what's going on locally with the care courts.
Okay.
If
Everybody's
council
in?
chooses.
Does everybody want to hear that? Great.
Thank you.
So we do have consensus on that. Is there anything further? All right. Seeing none, we will bring it to our city manager reports. City Manager Slattery?
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to give an update on recent activities and some of the protests that have gone on. A couple of Saturdays ago, when the incident happened at Minneapolis, I received a call from the police chief. I really want to commend the chief for staying on top of this. When that happened, he was immediately understanding of what our community reaction would be and was working on a letter to the community, as well as some information to be released on what EPD's role would be in ICE enforcement. So we had a citizen oversight on police practices meeting. A group called Indivisible came by. A lot of good community support for EPD, but at the same time, a lot of concerns. So I wanted to read the letter that the chief put out and give the community references on where they can go to find some of this information. So the purpose of I'm sorry. I have the wrong letter. I'm sorry. Anyway, the letter is available, and I will bring it up on our website. I'm sorry, I grabbed a different memo from the chief, but the memo is available on our website. It's on the front page. It's one of our first links on there. In that is the letter from the chief, and then at the bottom of that letter is a link to frequently asked questions that can answer some of the here, I got it right here, I think. And also included in that is we have translations for Hmong and for Spanish on there. So here it is. As your police chief, I have always believed that this role is not one of political motivation, nor is there room for political grandstanding. My responsibility and the reason I sought and accepted this position is to provide the highest level of service to everyone who calls Eureka home, as well as those who visit to enjoy all that our city has to offer. My role is to protect both our community and the members of the Eureka Police Department. EPD responds to all calls for service and requests for assistance. When we arrive, we assess each situation carefully and act in accordance with the law. This work includes keeping the peace, investigating crimes, preparing reports, and submitting those reports to the Humboldt County District Attorney's Office for review and potential prosecution. With respect to immigration enforcement, it is important for our community to understand EPD's role. The Eureka Police Department does not enforce civil immigration laws. We do not ask about a person's immigration status during contacts or enforcement actions, do not participate in immigration detainers or holds, and do not transfer individuals in our custody to immigration authorities unless required by a judicial warrant or judicial probable cause determination. EPD does not collaborate or share immigration-related information with federal immigration authorities unless required by state or federal law, nor do we assist federal agencies with immigration enforcement activities. Our actions are guided by California law, including SB 54, the California Values Act, EPD Policy 428, titled Immigration Violations, and the City of Eureka's Sanctuary City Resolution. In March of 2024, all EPD personnel received training on these laws and policies and formally acknowledged their understanding and responsibility to follow them. This is ongoing training that will occur annually. As a veteran of the United States Army, having served to protect our country and the rights we all enjoy, I strongly believe in the First Amendment. I fully support community members who choose to express themselves through peaceful protest and gatherings. For more than a year, EPD has been present at nearly all such events, monitoring, engaging, and ensuring a safe environment for everyone involved. We do not take sides on the issues being expressed. Our role is to ensure that all individuals have equal and safe opportunities to peacefully exercise their rights. That said, EPD does not support violence, vandalism, rioting, or any criminal or reckless behavior that takes place that places community members or officers at risk. We are grateful for the positive engagement we have experienced at recent events and for the overwhelmingly peaceful manner in which community voices have been shared. These gatherings demonstrate that it is possible to stand together, speak out, and be heard without resorting to actions that cause harm or division. I encourage our community to continue setting this example, showing that you have a voice, stand in solidarity, and advocate for change while keeping one another safe. Transparency and accountability are essential to maintaining public trust. The Eureka Police Department operates within clearly defined legal boundaries, and our authority is guided by state law, department policy, and the Constitution. We will continue to follow California law as written, including those laws that define and limit our role in immigration enforcement, regardless of external pressure or public debate. Our primary responsibility always is public safety. That means protecting life, preserving peace, and responding to calls for service without bias, favoritism, or consideration of political viewpoints. We do not choose sides, and we do not make decisions based on ideology. We act based on the law, the facts before us, and our duty to this community. It is also important to be clear that the limits of our authority. The Eureka Police Department cannot and will not act outside the scope of our legal responsibilities. When matters fall beyond our jurisdiction or authority, we defer to the appropriate legal processes and agencies as required by law. EPD remains committed to serving all members of our community with professionalism, respect, and fairness. Our focus will remain on lawful policing, community safety, and maintaining the trust placed in us by those we serve. We will continue to listen, engage, and act with transparency, guided not by politics, but by the law and our obligation to the people of Eureka. Godspeed, Chief Stevens. So I want to thank the chief for putting that together and being proactive about this. He saw this coming, and I think that the response from the community has been great. So thank you to the chief for doing that. And if there's any questions, we can answer them.
Does anyone have any questions for City Manager Slattery? Okay, well, we will take a comment. Councilmember Bauer?
No, I just want to say I concur with City Manager Slattery about that letter. I think it was important to reach out to the community about what EPD is about, what we stand for, and it was super well written, and I appreciate Chief Stevens for putting together something that I hope makes the community feel comfortable about, our law enforcement. They're not ICE. They're not the things that we're seeing on TV, and we appreciate them for that. They're here to protect us. Thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Councilmember Fernandez?
In the vein of public outreach, City Manager, I know we had talked about with the chief when the next upcoming dates for Coffee with the Chief might be, or that type of event. So I'm curious what we've come to on that.
The date hasn't been set, but as soon as we do, we'll definitely get out as much information as possible. We'll put it on all of our social media and everything like that. But I'm pretty sure he's committed to sometime this month.
Okay.
So hopefully by the end of the month, for the next week or two, we'll have a definitive date.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Well, I too want to share my appreciation, not only for the letter, but for all the great work that EPD is doing down at these protests and just in our community in general. When I'm down there, and even just through email, phone calls, seeing people at the market, I hear a lot of great feedback and appreciation for all that you guys do on a regular basis to keep people safe. And so I appreciate too that you got right out in front of this, that you have a facts list, and that you're willing to talk to people about this. You're not, you're open and willing to do that. And I'm really, I'm grateful for you guys and appreciate you so much. Thank you. And with that, if there are no further comments, it is only 7:44, but we are adjourned.
I have an 18-part question.
Ha.